we can actually see who the people are that are engaging with our content in Path Factory. And then that pushes into Salesforce. We can go acquire more of that buying committee from ZoomInfo. We can enrich there. And now we have a really great picture. We can see compliance hit the site. We can see that security and data risk hit the site. We can see those things and we're like, there is intent. There's multiple people with an issue. And by the way, of that marketing qualified account, 7 people have attended a webinar in the last 6 months. It's putting all of those pieces together kind of quickly so that we're pursuing the right things.
Revenue boosters, tips now in the fast lane. Watch your profits grow. Welcome to the Red Podcast.
Hey everybody, I'm so excited to welcome Missy Carmen. She's the CMO at Spirion. Spirion's platform is a comprehensive solution for sensitive data governance. And this year they have achieved a 20% increase in marketing created opportunities year over year, despite a 79% decrease in budget. So I'm so excited to get into it with Missy to learn how did she achieve that. So Missy, welcome.
Thanks for the invitation, Greg.
Yeah, well, so I just can't wait to understand. With that kind of budget decrease, what is the key to success? How do you...
So the true secret to how we've been able to achieve that kind of success despite the budget is the fact that technology is completely integrated. We take advantage of as much automation as we possibly can and just make sure that those workflows from beginning to end make absolute sense.
That's amazing. It makes so much sense, automating everything. So walk me through like the top of the funnel. What does it look like at the top of the funnel to start automating things?
So we actually use intent data when we're qualifying whether or not we should pursue an account or even contacts or leads. So we know that it takes 26 touch points for someone to become engaged. Well, ahead of time, we like to layer on top of that is the intent data. And so we've built a really sophisticated workflow leveraging ZoomInfo intent that pushes any account showing high audience strength, high intent signals. We have it pushing through into Salesforce, which then pushes into Marketo, which then also pushes into our ZoomInfo chatbot, and then it actually pushes into our SalesLoft cadences. There's a lot of toggles and switches that happen that whole time. But what we're trying to do is when the right account who meets our right ICP at the right stage is looking for something that we offer, we push them really nicely through this funnel over a period of 3 days, couple of drips, couple of touches, couple of outreaches, obviously some retargeting here and there. And the point is to just be timely and maybe make an impression on them.
That is so cool. And I'm sure if ZoomInfo has good data on that intent and you could figure out the right signals there, they're excited to get that message or that series of messages. And it takes, you think, 26 touch points for them to start to come in.
That was the average that we've been hearing throughout the industry at the end of Q4 of last year. And I wouldn't be surprised if it just continues to get bigger. We also know that the buying committee has more than doubled. So from maybe 6 people to up to 12, to even in some cases 15, depending on your ICP.
Wow. And so you're trying to say 26 across the different contacts at an account or 6 for each contact?
6 for each contact.
26.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so walk me through, how do you divide up 26 touches that you want to automate for a contact across different channels and strategies? What does that look like?
The whole point is making sure that what you're sending out to that person is really, again, relevant and provides value to what they were looking for. It's going to be, playing with the big dogs who have a bigger budget than we do, but we're putting in front of them, whether it's video ads, display ads, a BDR outreach, and obviously anything that we can leverage within LinkedIn, taking advantage of that algorithm and targeting them that way. And also the amazingness that Marketo offers with personalization, just getting the right message to the right person. We've had so much success, though, when we do use intent and then we follow it up with technical webinars, what we call tech talks, that are only 10 or 15 minutes. That has been hugely successful, coupled with our self-service demos. So putting in the hands of that person who might be looking for something, here, test drive us, see how we compare to the competition, and let us know if you're interested. We don't do any really hard outbound aggressive approaches, but rather how can we help you and answer any questions that you may have?
That's super interesting. I want to hear about both of them. So let's get it. So Tech Talks, 10 to 15 minutes, webinars. Obviously, webinars are an old strategy that still works. So how do you make the 10 to 15 minute format really come alive in that process?
It's called Marketo once again. So I know that some people are huge fans of HubSpot. Marketo has interactive webinars. If you've ever used On24, you might remember last summer they came out with a cool different layout for the webinars. Marketo has that now where you can really have some interactive features. The audience can grab some pieces of content. The audience can do live polling. That's a lot better than just being spoken to, not engaging with the audience. And so those are actually finishing up some beta tests, and we'll be rolling out those live in Q4. Our beta tests have already proven that the audience is a lot more engaged. They like to just grab the content, answer the polls, take a look at something else, and then leave. So,
I mean, that does make sense. Like a webinar is sort of when it's passive, it's kind of boring to come and spend your time during the workday. So, but you are getting people to come show up to these webinars when they're in the right buying moment.
That's right. Yeah. But we also offer them as like office hours. So people can hop in and hop out, invitation only. So that's another thing that's a little bit different is that we make ourselves available for people when they're on that journey, that 26 touch points. Here's our calendar invite. Here's our office hours. We're covering this topic. We'd love to have you join us. Make it simple.
Totally. That makes sense. And then you said self-serve demos. Let's talk about that. I think that's so interesting. What does that look like?
So another platform that we use that is completely integrated in our tech stack is Consensus. So we're huge fans of Consensus. It allows our sales engineers to record a 1 minute, 2 minute, 3 minute. You can record any length of a demo that you like, but then you could put the demo playlist together. And I, as a buyer, could say, I'd like to build my own demo playlist. I'd like to see this. I'd like to see this. I'd like to see this. And then the platform builds your playlist, and then it makes other suggestions. So it's kind of like that YouTube, TikTok, even sometimes Instagram, funnel that you go down and get lost. That's our hope, is to continue to increase the time that people spend on those demos, because we want them to just watch. So engagement time is a huge, huge number that we're looking at. Right now for self-serve demos, just overall playlists, we're up 56% year over year. That means that more people are engaging with our demos. We're pushing product feeds. We're pushing them in social. We're, again, following LinkedIn's recommendation to embed those videos instead of just pushing people out. But it's all about the product, making sure people get their hands on it, because the last thing they want to do is talk to a salesperson.
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. I mean, it is important for the salesperson to understand their needs and help them navigate the process. But if they can go and self-serve into demos, that seems like such a winning formula.
It's the same practice as B2C. It's the same practice as us shopping ourselves. So treating B2B, in our case, cybersecurity, the same way. That's the way I would want to shop and uncover software.
Especially a technical buyer. Why is that not more common? Like, what are the downsides of that?
Why is that not more common? That I've been asking since probably about 2016. And I started off in B2B and B2C SaaS, but I don't know why sometimes we feel like it has to be boring, but maybe it's sometimes maybe the way that we're reporting up and the expectations that are cascaded down to us. So to try something a little bit different is a little scary for some organizations, but if you have the numbers to prove it, and I do, 56% year over year increase with eyeballs, that says something. We've also seen the same increase on our website, our social engagement, our chatbot engagement. So we know it's working. And that's what's important.
I guess what's the fail case of it? Is it that you have less leads because you give them more behind the scenes access and that they're not going to schedule a meeting? Is that why people wouldn't do it?
That's exactly why. The whole idea of an MQL and lead scoring and all that fun stuff that goes with it, I like to really focus the idea that the quality is coming in. The conversations are being had. but we still are on track to hit, most of our numbers for the year, including our ever loving MQLs, but also it's the opportunities that we've created for the year. As an organization, we've already achieved 60% of our opportunity goals for the year. And that's down with a marketing budget, but that's quality coming into pipeline. And that's what's important.
That's amazing. I mean, so what data do you look at that gives you confidence it's the right call, right? You probably are capturing a lower percentage of your site traffic to marketing qualified leads because you offer the self-serve demos. So how do you justify that as a marketing leader? It's the right call to give that extra behind the scenes access to people without sharing their contact information and scheduling time with your sales team.
Well, one way that we measure it, whether it's successful, is we've kind of shifted more to the marketing qualified account model, which for us or a smaller business, we can afford to shift and follow where some of the leads are. By observing that there are more than 2, maybe 3 unique visits coming to the site, we know that something's happening. We also leverage Path Factory, yet another tool that integrates with our Salesforce instance, and it also integrates with Marketo. We can actually see who the people are that are engaging with our content in Path Factory. And then that pushes into Salesforce. We can go acquire more of that buying committee from ZoomInfo. We can enrich there. And now we have a really great picture. We can see compliance hit the site. We can see that security and data risk hit the site. We can see those things and we're like, there is intent. There's multiple people with an issue. And by the way, of that marketing qualified account, 7 people have attended a webinar in the last 6 months. It's putting all of those pieces together kind of quickly so that we're pursuing the right things.
That makes sense. I mean, and it probably also takes the confidence of a leader like you that says, hey, this is the right way to go. We're going to give them the information they're looking for. We're going to manage the data on the back end, and we'll do the outreach if they don't fill out the right forms. And that's okay.
That's 100% okay.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, so your big pieces on how to grow 20% while you have almost 80% lower budget is automate everything. Let's talk about the elephant in the room right now, AI. So what does that look like for you and your team as you start to automate all these different workflows?
So we've been leveraging AI for a long time. Obviously, I would say the entire tech stack probably really embraced AI about 6 months ago. So before that, we were using things like Claude and Jasper and ChatGPT to build out some ideas there. But since then, Marketo, ZoomInfo uses Microsoft Copilot. Marketo has their own SalesLoft. We use their AI. Every single one of our tech stack platforms has an AI feature rolled into it. That's what we're leveraging for workflow improvement, opportunity improvement, lead handling efficiency, especially with things like lean data and how we're actually reviewing and routing over. Also qualification for that matter, updating and segmenting our leads. Every single platform, Salesforce included, has ways that you can really speed up how to leverage AI. Chatbot, man, just being able to build out playbooks based on AI and user intent, it saves us like hours as well.
That's amazing. I guess, so you're just using a little bit everywhere. We're
using a little bit everywhere where it makes sense. Because it's a smaller organization, we want to keep our eyes on really where the opportunities are and then nurture everybody else with relevant content so that they're ready to come into that self-serve demo playground with us.
Totally. So let's get into, I would love to hear like one example how you actually approach it and sort of learn about that, where you're using AI that recently has had a real big impact. What's one example specifically that you've done there?
So I would say one example that we're leveraging AI would be to convert some of our product pages into some more interactive content that we then embed our consensus demo videos on those. So the pages are primarily built on intent data signals.
Oh, wow.
So we already know what content those people will be looking for. So we've created an automated playlist based on behavior, based on interest. And then using AI, it's recommended we create our own GPTs. Let me just preface that. So we create our own GPTs. Data is very important to us, but also protecting our ICP. And we have in our GPT, our ICP, lots of acronyms and abbreviations here, but we also uploaded all of our self-serve demos to the model. And we said, now that you know what our ICP's issues are, and we know that we want them to watch videos of these 30 some self-serve demos, which do you think are good from the top of the funnel, those that are more exploratory? And thanks to that, we built out content playlist, demo playlist, and now these Path Factory pages that are built on intent.
Wow.
Talk about having a signal from ZoomInfo that says this account is hot, and then you know the intent, push the workflow of the marketing qualified account into these workflows and send them to pages that are built based on intent. I know it's possible because I've used 6sense for most of my adult career, I would say. So trying to build it without 6sense in these other platforms has been a lot of fun. And I would say the proofs in our email click-through rate, we are seeing between, I would say 50 to 60% click-throughs in our emails that are based on intent only.
Wow. So you said you're trying to rebuild what 6sense does. For folks who aren't familiar with 6sense, what does the product do like that you had to replicate with these different tools?
Sure. So with 6sense, it also promotes having those buying signals and knowing what people are looking for. Are they in early stages? Are they in late stages, what they call buying consideration, awareness, decision, purchase? But then also, what does the account itself show? Is the account looking and what are the signals there? 6sense does a great job with marketing orchestrations, where based on the list that you build out who you want to target, you can put people into campaigns, paid media, email campaigns, sales loft cadences, outreach drifts. You could do a lot. So knowing that people are, again, getting the right piece of content, the right ad, the right time, the right invitation to the right tech talk. I've seen it all within 6sense, and it's pretty fantastic.
Wow.
Huge fan.
So much data. I'm
It's overwhelming. It's really overwhelming. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie.
So it sounds like a big piece of a lot of this automation, a lot of this is that intent data. Walk me through the texture of that, because I'm not as familiar with what types of intent data ZoomInfo has. So what are some examples of what the intent data looks like that you're using to start to maybe bring to life some of these examples of building these customizations on the intent?
Sure. So with ZoomInfo using Microsoft Copilot, let me just caveat that, we actually have what's called topic clusters. So we're not just looking for someone who's only looking for data discovery, but rather someone who's looking for data discovery plus data security plus PII in our ICP, whose signal score is between 66 and 88, and they have to have at least 2 to 5 audience strengths. That's a lot of data points, but it just says, I want to find the person who is in what I would call an awareness and a consideration phase. Further along, it's a little too late probably, and we can't compete with that. But if you're in consideration, you're shopping, then you're probably ready to listen to us.
So based on, I know it may be a black box, so we don't know, but based on your gut instinct, what sits underneath that? What are these things that they're observing that drive this intent data?
Sure. So it could be a number of things, and it's based on third-party data mostly. They could be searching, right? Searching for them. They could be shown an ad. They could have watched a video. They could have read a news article. They could have read a paper. So those valuable cookie signals really go to helping understand intent, and really being able to leverage that information is helpful for us.
Got it. It's sort of like the Facebook personalization algorithm that knows what people are sort of in the market for, but shares it more on a B2B anonymized way, somewhat anonymized.
The goal for us, though, is to build out our first-party cookies.
Yeah.
We need them to come to our site and our domains and our subdomains. But the only way you're going to do that is give them something of value.
Totally. And so like the tech talks are one of the main things that you're thinking about there?
Yeah, I love the questions that we got. I was just looking at our Gong calls yesterday, and a customer actually said, I really enjoyed the last tech talk. I learned a lot about this feature I didn't know existed. And that just kind of gives our product team, our engineering team a little bit of a little win. And even if it's only one customer out of 10 people on a call that says that, we've now have more eyeballs in the product and that person is excited to use it.
Totally. Wow. Missy, my head's spinning. I feel like I have so much work to do now. This is fantastic. I feel like there's so much more that I could be automating. And there's so many more data signals that I could be using to think more organically about our guard function rather than really focus so much on a heavy amount of paid. Really focus on what data can we get and how do we use that data to send really nice, personalized messages to the right folks, no matter where they're at, in our funnel or outside of our funnel. I think that's really, really inspiring. This is fantastic. Missy, congratulations. It seems like you have built a really incredible program and thinking about it in a very strategic and data-driven way. It's really inspiring.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for coming today, Missy. This is wonderful. Where can people find more information?
Obviously, I'm out there on LinkedIn, so you are more than welcome to connect with Missy Carmen at LinkedIn, and we can include that URL later.
That sounds great. Thank you so much, Missy.
Thanks.
Rev up your ears, it's time to ignite. GTM leaders bringing secrets to light. Revenue